Brazil isn't the first country that comes to mind when I think of South American food, but I think it's time to change that. I think the first thing that people would think of would be churrasco, but diving a bit deeper, you find a melting pot of influences: indigenous, Asian, African. You could spend years learning the recipes and techniques. But I wanted a simple point of entry: Galinha Caipira, or a country-style braised chicken with my staple modifications. First, break down a chicken. I used a pretty small chicken, but that's my business. Cut along all the joints, separate the spine and half the breast. Next is some mise en place for both a rub for the chicken and the actual dish. Chop around 3/4 of a red onion, making sure to finely chop 1/4 of it to reserve for the rub. Then chop 6 cloves of garlic and reserve half for the rub. Next I put 1 teaspoon of cumin in my spice grinder and let it rip until finely ground. Now in a mortar and pestle I put that 1/4 onion, half the garlic, the cumin, 2 bay leaves, if you can get fresh use that, and a couple pinches of salt, and pounded it until it was a fairly fine paste. You can also do this in a processor. Rub the paste into your chicken and let marinate for at least an hour. Next I peeled and chopped 3 carrots into fairly thick rounds. Then I peeled and chopped 2 large rutabagas. Traditionally this would be potato, but I wanted to keep it pretty low carb. Next I chopped 1 total bell pepper. I used half orange and half yellow, feel free to use red or green. Then I finally chopped about half a bunch of culantro, also called sawtooth coriander. It's like a ramped up version of cilantro but much heartier, and it stands up to heavy cooking. I would have used cilantro as well, but I forgot to buy it. I brought a pot of salted water to a boil and added my carrots and rutabaga and let it cook for 10 minutes before straining and setting aside. Now in a large heavy bottom pot I put about 3 tablespoons of olive oil and a teaspoon of venado seeds, also known as achiote or achiote. I love watching the oil infuse with that ochre orange. I took them out after about a minute and then I added in the onion, the bell pepper, the garlic, and the culantro and sauteed that for around 2 or 3 minutes. Then I nestled in my chicken pieces, making sure to wipe off the excess marinade as you don't really want the chunks of bay leaves. I cooked that for about 10 minutes before adding in 6 1/4 cups or 1.5 liters of water. I let that simmer for 40 minutes, mixing occasionally so nothing stuck. Then I added in the carrots and rutabagas and cooked for about 15 to 20 more minutes, or until the sauce reduced about halfway up the pan. I believe this is Brazilian home cooking at its essence. Simple ingredients but complex flavor, layered, vibrant, and comforting, and you can see my version had pretty much no impact on my blood sugar. This is my first foray into Brazilian food, but I'm excited to explore the traditional and nouveau, and I swear eventually I'll make a low-carb coxinha. Try this out, let me know how it goes in the comments, share with folks you think need new chicken recipes, and follow for more low-carbified recipes from all over the world.